Anyway, this is 410. I'm Eugene S. Robinson. Let's start at the start. Where it's the 12th, I don't have to do the commercial at the beginning because those of you who know at the end of the month I gotta pay. So you pay during the month. A lot of you have signed up last week. Last week was a banner week for Look What You Made Me Do. Apparently, writing about Kiedis instead of writing about Jeffrey Epstein does good business. I don't know, but one of let me explain myself. So we're gonna usually we go back to the end of the last one. We're just gonna start at the start and then go back. I'm going to explain it immediately. Those of you who read the Substack might have a sense of where this is going. Some of you don't. But one of the biggest earmarks of the letters I got, and I got a lot of letters, and I could read some of them on the show. What I think I'll probably save those for Ask Euge, because June suggested cleverly that I have the questions on one device and so I can answer on the other device instead of just guessing as to what they were, which would also allow me to read the actual questions that are comments that have come in. But I got a lot that were like, yeah, I'm glad you're all about the spirit of forgiving, but this guy's a fucking pedophile, and he admits to it in a book. And I was like, I've never read Scar Tissue. Do I have to fucking read Scar Tissue? Let me just go to the Google thing and then so I can say, add today Kiedis pedophile. And then he talks about having sex with a 13-year-old girl, no finding out she's 13, and having sex with her again after he already knows that she's 13. And okay, BC, I got that. I didn't realize we're talking about. Oh, I see that. I see. First call girl's ass, right? I didn't see that part. I read it too fast. Right. Okay, good. That gives it some context. So, Anthony Kiedis are like, okay, I've spent 25 years hating on the guy, and so I'm just like, I'm actually feeling sorry for him, and so people sending me letters, and it would not be a stretch to say I got at least 10. And they were like, fuck that guy, because this is what the guy. So I look, and it turns out that this is what he did. And I'm like, okay, I'm standing at the crossroads here. And I'm like, am I willing to give up this hatred I've had for the guy? I debunked the hatred. So I don't have that feeling. The best he could hope for me was indifference. But okay. So indifference, am I indifferent about Epstein? No. Is he in the same category as Epstein? No. He's in the same category as who? Oh, that's right. David Bowie, Iggy Pop, Bill Wyman, Ron Wood, Mick Jagger, a lot of these guys from the same band, it seems like, right? Jimmy Page, going down the list of all these cats who have, and I remember I've told a story on the show about being a friend with a famous guy in a very niche community. I'm not going to mention the community. I really like this guy, and I've done a couple articles on him. And at one point, he's older than me. He's probably about 15 years older than me, which at this point puts him at almost 80. And he was talking about doing sound for Hendrix or some such thing, or back in the 60s. It was, oh man, those the 12-year-old girls would be there, and I was like instantaneously filled with revulsion. And I know he doesn't know what happened, but I couldn't maintain a connection with the guy. And I didn't think it was my duty to tell him why necessarily. We weren't dating. It's not the kind of thing like when you're dating, I think you have some small obligation, if you do not want to date the person anymore, to send them on their way with much additional knowledge, to quote Anton LaVey, also a pedophile. So, well, not specifically a pedophile, but, his grandson admitted to me that he believed that his grandfather raped his mother, making him a child rapist, right? So, okay. But that's a digression. So we are focused here on, okay. So he's not Epstein. What is he? And I named all these stars, and this guy who I knew for quite a while was telling me about 12-year-old girls. It may have been that that things were different in the 60s, but I've had women I know who were molested by their fathers. And I'm not talking about touchy feely. I'm talking about their fathers starting to fuck them when they were 7 or 8 and did so through college until somebody like burst out at the dinner table with some shit like, yeah, you know what? This has got to stop, dad. And told the whole family. And the whole family was like, whoa, I could have had a V8. No wonder. We just thought she was your favorite. And the guy was like, well, there's a lot of experimentation in the 60s. Yeah, fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck that. You anytime, look, the chemical precursor in your brain, the neurotransmitter, they've done studies. They say people in jail for murder, it fires just a little bit slower, so they can't prejudge their own actions. So it's more like bang, 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 ah shit, I shot that guy, instead of fuck, should I shoot this guy? So it's just it's a timing issue for them a lot of times. And I think every single disgusting fucking shitty thing you've done, I mean seriously, irretrievably shitty thing that you've done, if you're a halfway decent person, you've had a moment of reflection to, should I punch this guy in the face? You weigh the pros and cons in a scant few seconds before you choose a course of action, and you do so that you can own this shit in the future, instead of going bam, that old lady didn't deserve it. I've never punched an old lady. Just FYI, I've knocked an old lady down, but she had hit me with a shoulder takedown attempt. Tried to get into a department store. I suddenly stepped aside and guided her to the floor. I must have been about 18. My mom was like, "What are you doing?" I go, "Just see her." And then she hit me like a linebacker. She got what was coming to her. But okay, I digress. So he is, Ketis, and I don't want to be in a position now after all these. I feel want to continue to feel indifferent, but can I feel different in the face of? And it's not even alleged pedophilia. He is broken law, statutorily speaking. He is technically. I don't even use the modifier. Technically, the adverb. Technically, he is a rapist. That's it. Along with Mick Jagger, David Bowie, and I go down the list in the Substack, and I include myself on that list. All right, because if you read the memoir, you know about my 14-year-old runaway girlfriend when I was 19. Okay, and I go, well, is that the end of the article? Is that period, close quote, and we're done, right? So those guys are rapists. I'm a rapist. Those guys, we're all in the kind of rapist party, right? That's where we are right now. And so I talked to some people. I talked to some lawyers. I talked to some people who are involved in these types of relationships, and there ended up being people were willing to. I wasn't like Manson once said. There are two ways to get to the cross. Cross being a corollary for enlightenment. You can go willingly, or you can get dragged screaming and crying. So I said there are two ways. I could dig in, and period, close quote here, and dig in on this idea that, there were extenuating circumstances, which of course reminds me of that scene. Was it something about Mary, where they stumble on, and Ben Stiller is running through a pickup section in Central Park, and he stumbles on some guys who are fucking, and they get arrested by the cops, or he gets arrested by the cops. And he was like, no, I just stopped to tie my shoe. And all these gay guys in the bushes are popping up going, I know I stopped to tie my shoe, my shoe. So if I start making extenuating, exculpatory kind of statements in regards to Ketis and Bowie, do I have to deal with, Epstein in the room going, well, yeah, me too. I did that too. Me too. I was, and so can I healthily and without fear of self-protection actually say, no, there seem to be categories here. The categories of difference here that bear being spoken about when we're speaking about something this serious, and again, what I wanted to do is not in any way diminish the, we believe women thing. But I wanted to say, you know what? We believe women, right? Let's listen to some women here, and some of the women I talked to who were in those types of relationships were like resented the fact that I was saying, you know what? These are all rapists. The letter of the law states statutorily that these men need to be called rapists, and every single woman who was involved in a relationship like this pushed back on that, with the exception of one, and one said, yeah, they're all rapists, but how about this as a marching order going forward? Don't fuck teens. And I was like, okay, okay, that's the hard line, and I got it. Okay, that's the hard line. But others said you're robbing us of agency, and the same thing that causes you to deny the agency of your 15 or 16-year-old is the same reason I got emancipated at 15, so I didn't have to deal with that kind of shit from my parents or anybody else. So yeah, yeah, yeah. This was the jump, and I had it was a hard piece to write because it's hard to get people to talk about it. It's hard to talk about it. It's hard to place it. I don't want to give ammunition to Kiedis or Leonardo DiCaprio or Al Pacino or guys sitting around. And with those guys, listen, believe me, I try to make the corollary between hippies and punks and being in cross generational moments. But if Al Pacino, who is in 84 years old, is meeting and dating a 26-year-old, this is not a cross cultural environment. There are very few places that 26-year-olds and 81-year-olds hang out. Oh, I met him in a restaurant. That doesn't qualify. There's some dual predation going on there, which I did. That was a tangent that I didn't want to go on with this piece. So anyway, and one of the people I talked to, like I said, she was angry that I would compare those guys. And I said, no, 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 I'm not. I hadn't finished the piece yet, so her input was valuable. So you could see toward the end, I start interviewing more people as the story goes this way, and then it goes this way, and then it goes this way. So, but I couldn't let the post key this week, because then it's like I'm signing off on what he's done, or I'm not signing off on it, all of which are fucking suspect. And like I've said before, I'm a discloser, right? I'm a discloser. If like when a friend of mine who's now, rest in peace, now she's dead, when she told me, said, yeah, oh, I see that you're online friends with Mr. Flanagan after he got back online. His kids got older, well before the Webster Hall incident. And she started to tell me this story about something he had done to her that was unpleasant. Not sexual assault, not rape, or nothing like that. But Harley was, we used to like to fuck with people's minds back then, as I knew him, right? And he, purportedly, she said that he was threatening her on the tour bus, or she felt threatened on the tour bus. So I asked him about it, and he just cut me off at the pass and go, Eugene, I did a lot of foul shit when I was younger. So somebody else told me, yeah, I let him stay with me for a bit and he robbed me. And I get all these stories came when, I think I wrote the forward for his book and he wrote the forward for my book. So these stories kind of came up. And I was like, and I thought, well, that was a great way to take responsibility for everything. I did a lot of foul shit when I was younger. I mean, I'm not trying to run, not trying to run. I'm a discloser. In fact, the whole situation with Oxbow imploding in 2024 would have been very fucking different if it had been me who had been accused. We're going to try this shit right now in the court of public opinion, and I'm going to tell you all, like the blues song says, I'm going to tell you all of what I know. But guilt and innocence, guilt. Who is responsible? What is responsible? Is it? And I'm stuck. And as luck would have it, somebody said, well, there is the spirit of the law, and there is the letter of the law. And I was like, spirit of the law. Well, I think at first he said there's a spirit of the law and the intent of the law. And what does that mean? And so I started to think, okay, this is a real thing. Like, you can look this up. It's a real thing. We talk about why we have laws, what the laws are supposed to mean, and what bridging the spirit and the intent of the law means. So now we're getting down into the fine things. And again, this stuff is there. If you read the case law, it's action. There's no statute of limitations on this stuff. So people have reasons not to talk. However, there was, oh, look who it is. The guy who hit me with the realization that spirit and the intent of the law. Hey, pull up the stool so you got a place to sit. Because if you sit on the couch back there, it's too creepy. Oh, look what he's picked up. Look at here. Yeah, give it to me. Let me put it in the frame there. Look. Don't worry about the no. Don't worry about the year, man. You don't have to worry about the year. Look at that. Look at that. No, I'll let you see the year. I'm a young man. That was 2010. The audience wasn't listening. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you see this is Marti G here. he's he's
This is possible deniability. Without the end of the worst possible I can think of. That's how far down.
Yeah, you got people saying hello to you. All right, so you hit me with the spirit of the law versus what you said initially. Put the knife down. Oh, it's very sharp. Yeah, put it right where you picked it up from. This is going to be a short segment. Don't touch my stuff. I tell you, like I tell Cora, don't touch my stuff. So okay. So you hit me with spirit of the law and intent of the law, which technically was letter of the law and spirit of the law, because I did some research. So why did that dawn on you as something I had left out of the piece initially? Right, because
you're struggling with the difference between the spectrum of these things, right?
Right.
You know, the problem is the letter of the law is 18.
Correct.
Right. So the question is, if they're 18 in a day versus 17 and 11 months,
right?
What's the difference?
Which is what June just hit me with right before the show started. She goes, yeah, the midnight of the 17th birthday to the 18th birthday. Yeah. Okay. So what is the difference?
Well, I don't know. I don't think anybody knows the difference, and everybody's different, right? So, first of all, I would like to say I'm protesting that this is the episode that you brought me on for. I just want to say in no way. And I had to watch the show to make sure you weren't saying like, "Hey, let me bring Marti, who's the pedophile expert."
Hey, there's a guy who was my web guy at one point when I was running Skull Game, who was making fun of me. He thought he would make fun of me and publish it, and then I would have a good sense of humor about it. And I did. And the next day, the headline was, Christian Anthony, gay expert, says... And he really actually asked me to take it down. I was like, take it down. No. Yes.
So back to your question. So
gay expert Marti G. Yeah.
So yeah, and then the problem is that there are people that want to prosecute people they don't like.
Right. Okay.
And they will use the letter of the law.
Right.
But
people they don't like who might be unjustly
Anthony Kiedis.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Versus the spirit of the law, which is the spirit of the law is, young people are not mature enough to make this decision.
Correct.
And they don't want older people to take advantage of that.
Right.
Okay. That's really they don't want guys. That's the intent of the law
to keep guys in vans from hanging around schoolyards. Okay, that's the intent of the law. But I was concerned about writing a piece in which guys who hang around in vans by schoolyards can say, well, Eugene said that the spirit of the law. That I just happened to be here, and I'm coaching volleyball, and it just happened that we're attracted to each other. Love knows no.
Yeah, it's tough, right? But then you have the letter of the law.
Okay.
So you can bounce back and forth between 19 and 16.
Okay.
Versus 35 and 15.
Is Woody Allen the pedophile?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. Jeffrey Epstein?
I think so.
Oh, there's a little kind of wiggle room there. You think so?
I think so.
Okay. From what you've read.
Yeah.
Okay. What about Donald Trump?
Don't know.
I have no idea what's going to be written about on the next Substack at this point in time. I do know there's a big hardcore festival in town here, so I'll be going to that. I think on the 15th. That'll be fun to see. Maybe we'll hook up with the promoter and say, "Hey, man, let's bring some cool music here to town." See what he says if he goes for that. Um, get the decibel piece written this week. Hardcore festival this week. Jiu-jitsu and weightlifting all this week. Kid at school. She's got a school photos, and there's some kind of literacy day. She gets some books, so they're good things afoot. They're good things afoot this week. But as usual, we don't know what tomorrow will bring. So keep yourself safe. The kid is screaming. I got people upstairs screaming, so I'm going to try to not add to screaming because she's trying to sleep. It's got to get early for school tomorrow. But anyway, thanks for listening. This is 410 of the Eugene S. Robinson Show Stomper. Bad Boss Brief. Yeah, we got Stephanie has run out of questions to do the shows on Bad Boss Brief. We had a fire me last week of a guy who asked a woman out of his workplace one time too often and got fired for it. But that's not enough to build a show around. So if you have show themes, you can let me know. I'll let Steph know. But you got to do it before Friday because we record on Friday. So, but yeah, this is the week that we do this new one. So yeah, this week it's got Bad Boss Brief. I got to record. I got finished the Decibel article, whatever it is, by the 18th, and then Hardcore Festival, and then weightlifting and jujitsu. And I tell you, at this point now, jujitsu has made me a religious man. Every day before jujitsu, I'm like, please don't let me get hurt in the head. Please. No, she hasn't what? Who hasn't what? Who? Enterprise, what are you talking about? Who hasn't what? Quick before I log out of the show. So anyway, this is the end of the show. Read the Substack. I welcome input on it. Hostility. I was almost gonna do a Substack on hostility because two people wrote like, "Yeah, your fucking band sucks. Who gives a fuck what you think?" I was like, you know what? I have no control over home wrecker. I have no control over it. She hasn't gotten themes for shows is what she's asking for. There you go. June has answered you. So anyway, this is the end of the show. Try to keep shit straight. This week is supposed to be a thunderstorm. Came last night. It was wild lightning and thunder. But try not to die before then. Until look what you made me do. Don't die, buddy. And don't forget, send in the questions for Ask Euge, please. Adios.
Thanks for joining us this week for yet another episode of the Show Stomper podcast, featuring your host, Eugene S. Robinson. Be sure to follow Eugene's weekly newsletter, which is a soaring hit at eugeneSrobinson.substack.com. If you're still on Twitter, he's at Eugene S. Robinson. While you're at it, follow him on Insta at Mr. Sleep 3. That's the number 3. For more episodes of the show that seemingly never ends, go to showstomper.substack.com and become a subscriber today. Eventually, it will house all the Knuckle Up archives we can locate. We already have all the jiu-jitsu breakdowns for free. Check out Eugene on the Bad Boss Brief podcast every other Wednesday morning, as well as the If the Shoes Fit podcast. Pick up his memoir, A Walk Across Dirty Water and Straight into Murderer's Row today, and be sure to leave him a much appreciated honest Amazon review.
Hey, are you still there? I'm here too. This is me, June M. Williams, Eugene's producer.
The Show Stomper has been produced by Original Designs, owned and operated by me, June M. Williams. I provide Eugene with videography, original show graphics, motion graphics, show logos, podcast syndication, social media, and more. I can be reached at originals@gmail.com, spelled ORIJUNELS @gmail.com.